Hello everyone, my name is Bernard Jen Chow and I'm the group representative for Group 4 Tutorial 1 for CIB 1001. In these presentations, we are going to present Chapter 4, the Management Environment, and we are going to solving the first 5 questions and 2 case study application and solving the problem related to them. Our group members are Zhen Yu, Zhe Xian, Ping Yi, Xiaojun, Mei Ting, Yok Seng, Ming Yan, Jing Yuan, Wicked, and me, Bernard. So that's all about our introduction part for these presentations. I will pass it to Jing Yuan right now. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Jing Yuan. Today I will be presenting about the role of manager and how much they actually influence in organization success or failure. To begin with, the manager play a crucial role in shaping the performance of an organization. Their decision, behavior, and leadership style can directly affect employee morals, team productivity, and the overall decision of the company. When managers make effective decisions, communicate well, and lead with clarity, the organization tends to perform better. However, poor management can lead to confusion, low motivation, and even failure. So guys, before discussing the impact of manager, it's important to define what a manager actually is. A manager is a person who oversees non-managerial employees and ensure that the tasks and the goals are achieved. They are responsible for the 4 main management functions, which is planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. They also ensure that the company runs smoothly by coordinating resolve, solving problems, and guiding employees in the right direction. The manager also communicates goals clearly to the teams and provide support, guidance when employees face challenges. They also act as a role model by demonstrating the professional and the good work ethic. So in short, manager act as the bridge between the top management and the employee, making sure that the strategy are executed effectively. Manager influence organization in several key areas. The first major area is strategy, direction, and decision making. Managers set goals, develop plans, and make important decisions that shape the future of the organization. For example, deciding which market to enter, what product to launch, on how to allocate resources. Good decision making can lead to growth and a competitive advantage. On the other hand, poor decision can result in wasted resource or missed opportunity. This shows how powerful a manager's role is in determining long-term success. The second key area is leadership and motivation. The manager plays a huge role in shaping the work environment. When manager motivate employees, provide feedback, and encourage teamwork, employee tends to perform better. A positive manager can increase productivity, build trust, and create a healthy working culture. Meanwhile, a negative or unmotivated manager can cause stress, low morale, and high turnover. Therefore, effective leadership is essential in achieving organizational success. To conclude, managers have a major impact on both the success and failure of an organization. Through strong decision-making, strategy planning, and effective leadership, they guide employees and shape the company's future. While external factors also play a role, the major influence remains one of the most important elements in an organization performance. That's all for my part. Thank you.
Thank you, Jing Yuan. And now I'll be presenting about why managers must understand what is happening outside their organization and how external factors can affect their job. First, managers operate in a constantly changing environment. Outside factors such as technology, consumer behavior, government policy, or economic conditions can change very quickly. If managers are unaware of these changes, the organization may fall behind. There are 3 main reasons why understanding the external environment is important. First, it helps managers adapt to change. The world is changing all the time, whether it is customer preference, new competitors, or new laws. managers need to adjust their strategies so the company can survive and grow. By understanding what is happening outside, managers can respond early instead of reacting too late. Next, it ensures the company stays competitive. Companies must keep improving because competitors are always developing new products or better services. When managers understand external trends, they can make better decisions like upgrading technology, changing marketing strategy, or improving products, so the company remains strong in the market. Last, it helps prevent decline or bankruptcy. If managers ignore external changes, the company may lose customers, lose revenue, and eventually face financial problems. Understanding the external environment helps managers make smarter decisions that protect the organization from risk and potential failure. Now, let's look at some examples of how external changes can affect managers' roles. This slide focuses on two types of external changes: social and cultural changes and technological changes. First, social and cultural changes. Social trends include things like customers caring more about health, sustainability, or lifestyle. When these attitudes shift, managers must change their strategies. For example, Coca-Cola had to respond when consumers started demanding healthier drinks. Managers introduced low sugar and zero sugar products, and marketing managers shift their advertising to focus on wellness instead of just refreshment. This shows how customer behavior can force companies to innovate and adapt. Next, technological changes. Technology is always improving, and this greatly affects how managers run the business. A good example is Mr. DIY. As online shopping became more popular, managers had to integrate e-commerce into their operation. They needed to coordinate online orders, manage digital marketing, and use customer data to improve sales. This shows that technology can change the way managers work by creating new responsibility and new opportunities. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mei-Ting. It's me, Bernard again. So now I would like to present how was the change economy affect what manager do. First of all, assessing environmental uncertainty. Manager usually will use data analytics to anticipate market shift and make quicker decisions in uncertain conditions. This means they study trend, track competitor move, and monitor customer behavior constantly. By doing so, they can respond quickly to sudden change like supply shortage or new market opportunity that can minimize their risk and also maximize the profit. Next, emphasize on employability and adaptability. Manager recruits and train employees with strong soft skills and encourage adaptability to new technology. They also provide opportunity for staff to learn new technology and skills on different routes, so employees can grow with the company. This helps the organizations stay competitive and ensure the workforce can handle technological change or shift in job demand. Last but not least, flexible work arrangement. Managers manage diverse and distributed teams. They adapt leadership and communication for virtual or hybrid works and build collaboration and trust in remote settings. For example, they may use video call, collaborative platform, and regular check-in to ensure their members stay aligned. They also focus on maintaining morale and connection among employees, even when people work from different locations or countries. Thank you. Now, I would like to share two real-world examples in current business periodicals of practices that organizations are using nowadays. First, Microsoft. Microsoft introduced a flexible hybrid work model where employees can work both remotely and in the office. Managers have to adjust by redesigning communication routines, using collaboration tools like Microsoft Teams, and setting clearer expectations for accountability. This allows Microsoft to coordinate teams across different countries, support different time zones, and maintain strong productivity. Next, Netflix. Netflix relies heavily on viewer data to support management decisions. This data helps them decide what shows should them to invest in, how to guide creative teams, and how to adjust quickly when customer taste shift. Because the streaming market changes fast, this ability to interpret data and react almost immediately gives Netflix a major competitive advantages. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, My name is Ong Ping Yi, and I will be answering question 4. So, why is it important for managers to pay attention to demographic trends and shifts? Well, it is really important because this change affects so many parts of business like the workforce, customers, and overall market demand. Let's start with the workforce. Demographic trends tell us about changes in age, education, and job preference. For example, if a lot of employees are nearing retirements, managers need to prepare for potential skill gaps and start developing younger talent. At the same time, younger workers like Gen Z really value flexibility and purpose, and understanding these can help managers with requirement and retention strategies. As the workforce changes, the demand for certain product and service also changes. Managers need to understand these shifts so they can adjust what they offer in the market. Next is employee engagement and retention. Different age groups are motivated by different things. For example, older employees might value job stability and health benefits, while younger employees might care more about work-life balance and growth opportunities. So you can see the difference, right? Managers who understand this can create policies and environments that keep everyone happy and reduce turnover. Let's talk about customers. Customer demographics are always changing. More millennials are becoming the main consumers, and the society is becoming more culturally diverse. This affects what people buy, how they buy it, and what they expect from the brands. Managers need to follow this trend to adapt product design, marketing strategy, and customer service. For example, Fenty, Fenty Beauty launched over 40 foundation shades to meet the needs of people with different skin tones. Another example is Bingriger food packaging, which help people from different backgrounds understand product information more easily. Demographics are also help managers in training development. Younger employees may prefer self-paced online learning, while older employees might benefit from hands-on mentoring. Understanding workforce age trends also help companies plan retirements and succession smoothly. In marketing, knowing your audience like their age, culture, and values helps create campaigns that actually connect with them. And in product development, demographic trends reveal what people really need, like health focused products and for an aging population or culturally relevant goods for diverse communities. By understanding these trends, manager can make smarter decisions about hiring, training, marketing, product development, which ultimately drive business success. Okay, so for the next question, do managers experience environmental stability in their business operations? The short answer is it depends. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Depending on the environment they are in, let me explain. First, environmental stability happens when external factors change slowly and predictably. This makes it easier for managers to plan ahead with confidence. Environmental uncertainty is the opposite. It happens when things change quickly and unpredictably, which makes decision making much harder. For example, in a stable environment, Telecom Malaysia benefits from consistent government support and policies which allows long-term planning. Similarly, cedary plantation in the palm oil industry enjoys steady government incentives and export support. But in certain environments, like the tourism industry in Langkawi, managers face unpredictable travel routes and changing SOP, especially during a pandemic. Restaurants in Kuala Lumpur also deal with shifting customer trends, rising costs, and frequent regulatory updates like wage policy change. So, in short, some managers operate in stable environments, but many face uncertainty and need to adapt quickly to stay competitive. That's all for me. Thank you.
Now, I will be presenting the 10-point summary for the case application 1, which is bad right. The first point is Uber's founded by Travis Kalanick when he failed to hail a cab in a snowy night in Paris. After that, he imagined an app that can connect drivers and riders instantly. The second point, from the small ideas, Uber grew into the world's largest ride-hailing company, operating in hundreds of cities and valued at $70 billion. Third point, however, in 2017, engineer Susan Fowler posted a blog post exposing Uber's toxic culture environment, revealing the harassment, discrimination, and abuse. Fourth, much of these cultures stem from Kalanick's leadership style, which promote a win at all costs mentality and the ideas of always be hustling. Fifth, culture in collaboration and inclusivity. So as a result, collaboration and inclusivity was often overlooked, and many employees, especially women, felt excluded or unsupported. Six, the environment also gave a rise to what described as an exclusionary work culture. Celebrated chest bumps and push-up contests become a part of the workplace norm. But instead of motivating everyone, these practices alienated those who didn't fit to the mold. The seventh is scandal emerged. As time went on, public scandals began to surface. One of the most damaging was a viral video showing Kalanick arguing angrily with an Uber's drivers. The eighth, alongside this company faced serious ethical breaches, including spying on competitors, hiding a major data breach, and using a secret tool to avoid regulators. This incident severely damaged Uber's reputation and trustworthiness. 9. Eventually, the company reached a leadership crisis, with growing controversy and declining confidence from both the public and investors. Kalanick was pressured to step down as a CEO. So the last, to rebuild company futures, Dara Khosrowshahi was brought in, focusing on restoring ethics, rebuilding trust, and creating a healthier, more inclusive workplace culture. Now I will continue to presenting the question 411. For this question, I will divide it into the two parts. For the first part, the question is, what role does a CEO play in organization culture? First, the CEO sets the tone for the company values and behavior. This means the CEO must model the ethics and attitudes they want employees to follow. Their actions influence how people think, act, and work together. In the case of Uber under Travis Kalanick, his leadership emphasized ideas like win at all costs and always be hustling. While this sounds motivating, they encourage risky and sometimes unethical practices across the company. Second, a CEO is responsible for promoting inclusivity and respect. When a CEO demonstrates fairness and respect, employees usually follow the same behavior. However, at Uber's, Kalanick's leadership allowed a broad culture to grow. This environment alienated many employees, especially women, and eventually created a toxic workplace. This did not only harm employees, it also damaged Uber's public reputation. For the second part, the question is, what role do other leaders or managers play, and what role should they play? Managers play a crucial role in shaping company culture. In Uber's case, many managers reinforce the toxic environment created by CEO. They copy and amplify Travis Kalanick's aggressive values, encouraging a win at all cost mindset. Some managers even engage in unethical practices, ignore complaints, and fail to protect employees. Because of this, the toxic culture spread throughout the company, showing how powerful managers are in influencing daily behavior and workplace standards. So, what role should managers play? Managers play a critical role in shaping and maintaining an organization culture on a day-to-day basis. They should act consistently with the company values, ensuring that employees follow the ethical standards and safety protocols. At Uber, many managers fail to address harassment, complaints, or unsafe practices, which allow a toxic culture environment. Effective managers would encourage collaboration, inclusivity, and ethical behavior, rewarding employees who report issues and correcting behavior that violate company policies. By being approachable and transparent, managers create an environment where employees feel safe to raise concerns rather than hiding incidents like data breaches or misuse of technology. Through their actions and decisions, managers reinforce a culture supporting ethical growth and a healthy workplace.
Good day everyone, my name is Qin Zheng Yu with my matrix number 25005734. Today I will be describing Uber's culture under its founder, Travis Kalanick, using the 7 cultural dimensions from Exhibit 4.4. So from the case, Uber grew extremely fast, but the growth came with a very distinctive and often toxic cultures. First, Uber scored high on aggressiveness. Kalanick's guiding belief was basically win at all costs. Employees were encouraged to hustle, confront others, and step on each other's toes if needed. This created a competitive but hostile working environment. Second, attention to detail was moderate. The company focused heavily on technical innovations but often ignored ethical or procedural precisions. For example, while the app disrupted the taxi industry, many internal issues were overlooked. Third, Uber ranked high in innovations and risk-taking. It revolutionized ride-hailing through technology, but this willing to take risks also pushed the company into a gray area of regulations and ethics. Fourth, Uber had a high outcome orientation. Result matters more than the method used. The idea of hypergrowth at all costs perfectly matched these dimensions. Achieving target was prioritized over doing things the right way. Fifth, the company had low people orientations. The workplace was described as hostile towards female employees and tolerant of harassment. This showed that the well-being of people was never the main focus. 6. Stability was low. With constant scandal, leadership issues, and cultural problems, the environment was always shifting. This instability became a major threat to the company's long-term sustainability. Finally, Uber showed low team orientations. Employees were encouraged to compete instead of collaborate, which creates internal conflicts rather than teamwork. So overall, Uber under Kalanick was aggressive, innovative, and extremely result-driven, but at the cost of ethics and stability. This culture played a major role in shaping the problems highlighted in the case. That's all for this question. Alright, so for question 413, which view of management do you see play out here? The omnipotence or the symbolic? And explain. Alright, so the view of management that is clearly shown in Uber case is the omnipotent view of management. This view suggests that the leader is the main driver of an organization's success or failures. And at Uber, almost every part of their company culture and behavior could be traced directly back to Travis Kalanick. So the first thing I'm going to mention is toxic corporate cultures. Under Kalanick, Uber developed a culture built on hypergrowth at all costs. Slogans like always be hostile and toe-stepping encourage employees to be aggressive and confrontational. This culture also creates a clear contempt for women. The most famous example is Susan Forward's 2017 blogs, where she exposed repeated sexual harassment that HR ignored. This shows how the culture allowed misconduct as long as people perform. On top of that, Uber became a baller environment. Activities like chest bumps and push-up contests made the workplace feel mature and unwelcoming to non-male employees. All of this reflects the value promoted by its leader. So the second part is unethical leadership decisions. Kalanick's leadership didn't just shape employee behavior, it also shaped Uber's strategic decisions. The company used the grey bottles to deceive regulators and avoid scrutiny. These were also serious privacy violations, including sharing the record of a rape victim in India and suggesting it was a setup. And the company was even involved in spying on rivals, secretly surveying competitors to steal trade secrets. This action came from the top, reinforcing the omnipotent views that the leader's ethics become the company ethics. So, what is the impact under an unethical leadership and toxic corporate cultures? As a result, Uber's brand became widely despised. One major turning point was a viral video of Kalanick arguing with an Uber driver, which damaged public trust. This led to a strong pressure from stakeholders, and major investors eventually forced Kalanick to resign. So after that, the new CEO Dara Khosrowshahi faced the huge challenge of repairing the culture and stabilizing the companies. So overall, Uber's under Kalanick represents the omnipotent view of management. The company's culture, its unethical decisions, and even its downfall were all shaped directly by its leader. Alright, so that's all for this question. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Puyok Ching. My matrix number is 2421-7876. Today I will be sharing my advice for Uber new CEO on rebuilding the company organizational culture. First, Uber need to redefine and communicate strong core values. This means establishing values like integrity, respect and accountability, and making sure every employee truly understands and practices them. Next, the CEO must lead by example. Being a role model is crucial. Employees will mirror what they see at the top, so he should demonstrate ethical, transparent, and collaborative behavior to show that how results are achieved is just as important as the results themselves. Finally, Uber needs to promote people orientation. After years of toxic culture issue, creating a supportive environment that values diversity, inclusion, and employees' well-being is essential. When employees feel respected, they contribute more positively. Alright, let's move on to my fourth point, which is Uber should encourage teamwork. Instead of rewarding aggressive individual competition, the culture should highlight collaboration and share success. This will help rebuild trust and reduce internal conflict. Next, the CEO needs to implement clear ethical standards. Transparency about decision and consequences is essential for restoring credibility, especially after Uber past ethical issue. Another important point to preserve innovation. Uber grew because of bold ideas, so the goal is not to slow them down. Instead, the CEO should continue supporting creativity but ensure that innovation always stays within ethical and legal boundaries. For this slide, I'm discussing the ethical issue in the Uber case and the career lesson we can learn from it. What disturbed me the most is the disrespect and harassment of employees, especially women. This shows a complete failure to uphold basic human dignity. Alongside that, Uber also violated trust and privacy, such as sharing the confidential medical record of a rap victims, which is extremely unethical and unacceptable. Another major issue was dishonesty and lack of transparency. The company hid data breaches and used tools like Greyball to deceive authorities. All of this shows that the leadership believed that winning was more important than integrity and legally, creating culture that openly rewarded unethical behavior. From a career perspective, the lesson is clear. Success should never come at the cost of ethics. We must value honesty, respect, and responsibility in any workplace. And no matter how pressured we are, we should choose to act ethically, speak out when something is wrong, and work for organizations whose value aligns with our own. Move on to the next slide. I'm going to talk about career and ethical lessons we can learn from Uber situation. First, integrity must outweigh success. The case shows that long-term success depends on trust and ethical reputation, not just fast growth or profit. Even the most successful companies can collapse if their culture lacks of integrity. Next, we need to remember that culture starts with individual behavior. Even if leadership is unethical, every employee still has the right to choose honesty, respect, and professionalism. Ethical behavior is not just a company policy, it starts with personal responsibility. Another important lesson is the courage to speak out about misconduct, whether it's reporting wrongdoing or refusing to be part of unethical action. Speaking out protects not only yourself but also your colleagues and customers. Finally, we should choose organizations that match our values. Before joining a company, it's very important to do a research about its culture and make sure the culture is promote fairness, respect, and accountability.
Now, we are diving into the incredible global growth story of the Seattle-based company Tableau and examining the smart human-centric strategies they use to conquer the international market. When a company scales internationally, it's always a complex puzzle, but Tableau growth is phenomenal. As you can see on the screen, Tableau grew revenue by 64% overall, driven by international markets. Moreover, Tableau international revenue increased by 86%, now accounting for 25% of total sales. Apart from that, Tableau has 2,800 employees in worldwide locations such as London, Shanghai, and Singapore. These rapid expansions means they now operate in 14 worldwide locations, and they are not slowing down. They plan to open even more international offices and hire around 400 new employees abroad.
Good morning. I will now summarize the second half of our 10-point summary, focusing on the specific case study of CEO Christian Chabot. At point 6, look at the keyword, physical presence. Chabot didn't manage by email. He moved to London for a year. He got in the game. That is the foundation. Let's move to the point 7. When you are physically there, what happens? You stop looking at spreadsheet and you start managing culture and people. He realized that you cannot understand the soul of your company from a distance. And because he was there, he saw the truth. Look at point 8. Read those words, disconnected and undervalued. That is the pain. That is what happened when headquarters ignores the field. He felt that pain because he was sitting right there with them. So, what was the shift? Drop down to point 9. His presence changed everything. It wasn't a memo. It was a message. It told them, "You are crucial to our success." He didn't just say they matter, he showed them. And the result, point 10, this is the payoff. It worked so well that Tableau now forces other executives to do the same thing. It turned a one-time trick into a permanent strategy for growth. So, by stepping out of the office and into the field, he bridged the gap and strengthened the entire company. Thank you.
So how do you manage a company where you are physically separated from your core talent? Tableau addressed its international staffing by relying primarily on host country nationals or HCNs, meaning they hire local people for local offices. This is common and highly beneficial strategy as the list of advantages shows. First, there's local knowledge. Local hires bring a deep, innate understanding of the country's culture, custom, and market practices. This is absolutely critical for effective sales and operation. Secondly, there's legal compliance. These employees are already familiar with local labor laws and government regulations, which significantly reduces the company legal risk abroad. And thirdly, it's fantastic for cost efficiency. You eliminate the massive expenses associated with moving and maintaining experienced staff like relocation fees and premium pay. Hiring locals is clearly the smart, cost-effective way to staff an office, but as Tableau quickly found, it comes with a few significant downsides. Let's look at the disadvantages, because these are the problems Tableau had to solve. The first challenge is coordination and loyalty. When you rely only on local hires, you risk difficulty integrating with the HQ strategy. The second major disadvantage is employees may feel a conflicting loyalty, potentially prioritizing local objectives over the global goals of the parent company. The last major disadvantage is a lack of global experience, as home office staff may miss the opportunity to gain international perspective.
Let's look at the question at the top of the screen. Do you agree with Chabot that the company will benefit if more executives spend time in international office? Why or why not? My answer is absolutely yes. And if you look at this board, you see exactly why. Start over here on the left node. Connects teams. This is the first victory. Physical presence fights employee isolation.
It builds personal bonds that a video call simply cannot replace. Now, drop down to the center bubble. Gains real insight. When you are on the ground, you see things differently. You uncover local challenges that are invisible when you are sitting in headquarters. Next, move up to the node on the right. Validates global stuff. This is about respect. Being there shows your international teams that they are crucial to success. It tells them they are not just a satellite office, they are part of the core mission. And finally, look at the green bubble in the corner. It's proven. This isn't a theory. The data show that this strategy boosts both culture and regional sales. So, does the company benefits? The evidence says yes. It connects, it validates, and it drives results. Thank you.
Thank you, Dacian. Now let's look at question 418. The question asks, as W executives get ready to spend time in the company's international offices, how can they prepare for the cultural differences they will encounter? I'll split the answer into 2 parts, that which is the table itself needs to do and what executives need to do in relation to the external environment. So first of all, on the table side, the executive must start learning the local customs and business practices of the country they are visiting. This helps them avoid misunderstandings and communicate in a way that feels respectful to the local team. Next, they need to develop cultural awareness and sensitivity. This means understanding that different cultures have different expectations. Some might prefer direct communication, while others value subtlety or hierarchy. Being sensitive helps them adjust their behavior. They also need to adapt their management approaches. The same leadership style used in Seattle might not work in London, Singapore, or Shanghai. So flexibility in management is essential for building trust and collaboration. Now, for the external environment, executives should take time to listen and observe local people. Instead of imposing headquarters ideas, they should understand how things already work on the ground. Then they must build relationships before business. In many cultures, trust comes before tasks. By connecting personally, they make cooperations much smoother. Lastly, they may stay flexible and keep open mind. Cultural differences can be surprising, so being adaptable helps them respond effectively instead of reacting defensively. Now, let's move into question 419. What are some challenges Table will face as it hires 1,000 new employees in 1 year? The first challenge is maintaining the company's core values. When new branches are growing fast, employees may feel isolated or disconnected with Seattle. This can weaken Tableau's brand identity and make each office operate differently. The second challenge is management structure. As teams expand, Tableau must ensure there is strong supervision, clear reporting lines, and enough leaders to support all the new staff. Without proper structure, communication becomes confusing. Next, communication and coordination. Hiring across different time zones and languages creates obstacles. Meetings become harder to schedule, and misunderstandings can happen more easily. This can slow down decision making. Another challenge is quality control and consistency. Because Tableau's work requires specialized technical knowledge, hiring quickly increases the risk of bringing in people who may not fully meet company standards. This affects product quality and customer experience. Then, we have training and onboarding. With so many new employees, Tableau must make sure they are all receive consistent orientation and understand the company's expectation. Without proper onboarding, productivity and team alignment can suffer. Finally, recruitment difficulties. Finding skilled people who fit both the technical requirements and company culture is not easy, especially when hiring across many countries at once. And that's all for our presentation. Thank you.